My name is Tori and today we're going to be talking about Tenrecs. So I am joined by Finn, my Tenrec. We are going to be talking about some of my most frequently asked questions about these little guys. He's kind of a mysterious little man on my channel because he isn't featured in a lot of my videos. So I figured, let's talk about Finn. So the first question is, what is he? So Finn is a Madagascar lesser Tenrec, or a Madagascar lesser hedgehog Tenrec, technically. And he is a species of Tenrec. He happens to be the smallest species. There are a bunch of other ones. They are not very common in the pet trade, particularly in the US. They are a little more common outside of the US, but in the US there's a pretty limited number of these guys, and you see them more typically at zoos here than anything else. My second question is, why do they look so much like hedgehogs? So actually, if you don't think about their quills, they really don't look like hedgehogs much at all. They have a number of differences, from their feet to their faces to their big ol' ears. They even have different kind of tails. So yeah, they're very different, but because of the quills, people think they are basically related. The only reason they even look remotely similar is because of convergent evolution, which is when two species of animals evolve with some of the same defense mechanisms because they have some of the same environmental concerns. I guess he's gonna show you his butt. Number 3 is, what are the differences between Tenrecs and hedgehogs? And actually, I got this question so many times that I did an entire video about it. So I will have that linked down below for you guys. That is a very long answer. I didn't even cover all the differences in my video that I did on it. They are entirely different animals. They just happen to both have quills. Number 4 is, where did you get him? So Finn is actually from a breeder who is no longer breeding. She wasn't the best breeder to begin with. I thought she was. She wound up not being. She's out of business now, thank God. But there are a select number of breeders in the US. I recommend joining some of the Tenrec Facebook groups on Facebook dedicated to these guys, where you can ask if there is a breeder in your area. There probably won't be. I'm warning you now. There's a very few, select few breeders in the US. So if you really want one, you're probably gonna have to have them shipped to you. It is incredibly unlikely that you'll find these guys in rescues or anything like that. They are pretty rare in the US. If you live outside of the US, I can't really comment towards that situation because they are more common outside of the US, but within the US, not so much. Number 5 is, how much was he? So Tenrecs in the US are incredibly expensive. Again, outside of the US, this is an entirely different story. So within the US, Tenrecs can range from about $500 to over $1,000, especially if you need to get them shipped. So Finn was $650, which is kind of low mid-range, and I didn't have to get him shipped, so I saved money there. And then all of his supplies were pretty expensive. I think I spent probably around $1,000 total when getting him, plus his food can be pricey too, depending on where I get it from. Number 6 is, do they make good pets? Now, this question I always find kind of complicated to answer because I feel like any kind of pet can be a bad pet for someone and any kind of pet can be a good pet for someone. I think the best way to answer this question is to tell you guys to do as much research as you possibly can to figure out if Tenrecs will fit your lifestyle. Number 7 is, what do they eat? So Tenrecs can eat a number of things, but most Tenrecs live on a mostly insectivore-based diet, which means they live on mostly insects. They are not strictly insectivores, so they do eat other things like meats and things like that. Most Tenrecs won't eat fruits and vegetables, though they can. Finn lives on meats, insects, and wet cat food. He won't eat dry cat food. So I grind up dry cat food and mix it with water because that's more suited to his nutritional needs. Wet actual wet cat food is very high in fat and a lot of other things. So yeah, they eat a number of things, but mainly they live off of insects. Number 8 is, why isn't Finn on my channel more? Or why isn't he in more videos? And the answer to that is because I am not comfortable doing care videos on Finn, and when I hang out with him, it consists of this. He sits there very slowly, and yeah, he's not a very active little dude. He kind of just hangs out. He's crawling down my back. They're arboreal, in case you didn't know that. So he's going for a walk right now. You wanna get in my hand? 'Cause, oh, he turned around. There he is. Okay. Well, hello. What's your plan here? Do you have a plan? So, yeah, they're in torpor for a good chunk of the year, and then they are also just relatively calm animals. There's not much I could film for you guys. So I do videos where I can, and yeah. Where are you going now? You wanna come in my hand, or are you trying to grab my shirt? What are you trying to do? Ow, you're scratching me. Are you trying to turn around again? Oh, you're trying to go in my shirt. Well, how about we don't do that right now? I was a bit distracted in that answer, so let me answer it again. The reason Finn is not in a ton of videos on my channel is because I am not super comfortable doing care guides for him. I haven't even had him a full 2 years. He's 2 years old, but I have not owned him that full time, obviously, because he was a baby for some of that. But yeah, the Tenrec care is constantly changing. It's constantly evolving because they're relatively new, particularly in the US, as I've mentioned. And it's really important for me that if I'm going to be giving out care information, that I make sure what I'm giving you guys is actually helpful and not actually going to hurt you in the long run. You can't go in my hair. So I don't do a lot of care guides on them, and I don't think I ever really will, at least not anytime soon. And he also, you know, just kind of hangs out when he's out of his cage, so I don't have much to film in that aspect either. Like, this is what we do. We hang out. Sometimes we watch Netflix. So I mean, there's not much to film. I film when I can. If you guys have any, like, requested videos you want to tell me about, go ahead and leave that down below, and I'll see if I can do some of those if you want to see more of him. And, yeah. Number 9 is, do they need friends? No. They don't. Tenrecs are mostly solitary. The females can live in pairs, and the males and females can live in pairs. The males and females can live in pairs most of the year, because they only breed during specific seasons, and sometimes people separate them during those seasons and then let them live together the rest of the time. But no, Tenrecs are solitary. You don't need to give them a friend. They don't crave that attention from another Tenrec. They can get quite bonded with their owners, which is pretty cool. And the last question, which kind of latches on to why he isn't in a lot of videos, is how long is he in torpor for? And that really depends on the year. One year he went in longer than the other, and he's only 2, so I don't have like a rough estimate for you guys really, but Tenrecs can go into torpor anytime from like September to April is a really, really long one. Finn went down, I think, the end of November last year, and he woke up end of March, beginning of April of this year. So that was roughly 4 to 5 months. I think they average about 4 to 5 months. Some go down for like 6. But yeah, it really depends on if you have like external heat sources and things like that. If you do, you can bring them out earlier. If you don't, they naturally can stay in longer. It is sort of up to them. You're gonna walk off and scare the heck out of the dogs. Both of my dogs are pretty, they're curious about Finn, but pretty scared of him too. So that's it for today's video. That was my 10 most frequently asked questions about Finn and Tenrecs in general. If you guys have any more questions about him, feel free to leave them down below in the comments section and I will answer them for you guys. I will also leave my Tenrec playlist in the description that has some videos about him, with just a little bit of his care, but not a ton. Like I said, not comfortable doing care videos about a Tenrec. So that's it from me. I will hopefully see you guys in my next video, and until then, bye! I'm a lonely, hard feline. I take what's mine and I leave behind.